Hey everyone, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. We're going to get started here with the live stream momentarily. We'll give it another 30 seconds to 60 seconds for people to jump on. All right, I see we have some people starting to join the stream. Welcome, welcome. It's Rod with Pow Group. Just sit tight for another 30 seconds or so. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and we'll get started here momentarily. Hello, Jamlosi. Welcome to the stream. Going to do a little bit of a different live stream today. Today's going to be focused on the Ethereum ETF approval potentially incoming, and we'll take a look at the charts. The crypto space is soaring at the moment, with Ethereum, obviously, and to no surprise, leading the charge here up about 20%. So we'll get started here in about 10 seconds. All right, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. Today is Monday, May 20th. Happy Victoria Day for those in Canada. And I hope you had a great weekend. In this video, we're going to be discussing some breaking news that was out today. Ethereum busting about 20% on speculation and hype that we could potentially see an ETF approval incoming. This came after multiple analysts said that, it had pretty much, it was basically baked in that it wasn't going to happen. And now they're saying, it could be about a 75% chance that we actually get an Ethereum ETF, spot ETF approved, similar to Bitcoin. So we'll take a look at the charts. We'll take a look at this news. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. Excuse me. We'll jump right into it, and we'll jump into the chat at the end as well. And if anybody does have any requests, we can take a look at the chart for other altcoins as well. We're looking at a potential altcoin season. We have a monthly bull flag on Bitcoin as well that's looking to potentially confirm. There was a daily bull flag. The S&P 500 is a monthly bull flag, so it's just bull flag galore at the moment. So bull flags for everyone. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future live streams such as this or when I post new content. And as always, this is not financial advice. You should never ever buy or sell anything based on anything that I say. And you can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPal. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So as you can see, we are busting here on Ethereum. We're up over 20% from the low of the beginning of the day today and yesterday. Bitcoin was up about 7%. Came just shy of the all-time high within about 3 or 4 grand. We got Litecoin busting about 8%. XRP up almost 6%. We have XLM a little over 7%, and Link, which has been seeing some massive growth over the last couple of weeks, just under $18 and up about just under 6% at the moment. So nice gains across the sector. We'll take a look at the news here. So breaking, more good news about Ethereum spot ETFs. The SEC accelerates the process, and the approval could come before Thursday. According to a recent development, the SEC may be accelerating the approval process of the Ethereum spot ETFs. And I don't think anybody really saw this coming, and it's very evident with the price action that we've seen today in the crypto space. So they had the deadline of the 23rd, so that is why they're talking about Thursday. That was the date, and like I said, most of the market pretty much had already, was under the assumption that it wasn't going to happen. So the fact that this came out caught a lot of people off by surprise, and myself included, and a little bit of a plot twist. So, in my opinion, I didn't think it was going to get approved, but, I think it was Larry Fink of BlackRock who said, it wouldn't even matter, even if, it was a security, even if Ethereum was deemed a security, right? Whether, you think it is or it isn't, ever since staking and Ethereum 2.0 after the merge, one could make the argument that it definitely resembles a security now because you're staking, you're relying on the, you're getting a return essentially on the efforts of others, right? So in my opinion, it could go either way. And at this point in time, I don't think that's a reason for them to not approve a spot ETF, right? We have tons of ETFs in the financial world that are securities, right? So just because it's a security doesn't mean that you can't have an ETF. So that's an interesting fact that Larry Fink had brought up. And then they say here that the SEC is urging exchanges to expedite the update of the 19B-4 filings for Ethereum spot ETFs, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter, cited by CoinDesk. According to the sources, this move indicates that the SEC may be aiming to approve these applications before a key deadline this Thursday. So we'll see what happens. They still have to file their S1 applications, though, and it could take an indefinite period of time for the SEC to approve the S1 filings because there is no set deadline for the process, a person said that was familiar with the matter. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I think the odds are definitely favoring approval versus denial. Let me know in the comments below and in the live chat if you agree with me. But we'll take a look at the chart here real quick, and then we'll jump into the chat, and we'll just bring up, so yeah, we're up about 20% there. We'll just bring up the SPY chart. So I'll show everybody the S&P 500 confirmed a monthly bull flag as well. So if we just go to the monthly time frame, you can see here we had our low, high, higher low. We were in a monthly uptrend before this as well. So an uptrend is higher lows and higher highs. So we had our low, high, higher low and higher high, higher low and higher high, and another brief higher low into a higher high, which confirmed the bullish continuation pattern being the bull flag here. So you can see from the low to the high, anything over 479 on this pullback was just a potential for a higher low and bull flag bull continuation pattern. And then we didn't even really dip below the 0.236 there. We dipped to 493. So as long as we held 479, the 0.32 fib, it was still a monthly bull flag intact. So it's a very brief, quick higher low. And we confirmed the monthly bull flag. And then to take your measured move, you just go from the low there to the high and then move that out. And it's saying we're targeting about 620 on the S&P 500, which from where we are right now, that would indicate about another 16.75% move from here. So just under 17%. So that's not, if you think about it in terms of percentage, if you say 620, it's like, oh man, that's never going to happen, right? But we're at 530 now, and we have a new all-time high of 531.56. So if you think about it in terms of percentages, right, that's not that far away. That's only about, like I said, just under 17%. And in some of these candles, look at this candle here. In 1 month, we were up about 13.5%. So we can easily do that. And I've been watching for Congress being banned from owning stocks, the Fed starting to cut rates and turn dovish. That's going to be a huge top indicator in my opinion. But that's what we have for SPY. And then Bitcoin, we're looking at a similar scenario. Actually, let me just bring it up here. I think it was this one that I had it drawn on. Yeah. So we have a daily bull flag as well. And I mentioned this to POW Group private community members today, that if you take your fib tool, go from the low to the high here, move that out. So you can see you have your low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib. It said we were targeting about 72.6K. And then we hit 70.4K. So we came very close. So that's about 3% away. And then what we want to see Bitcoin do is something similar to the S&P 500, where we confirm the monthly bull flag. And was it on this one that I had it drawn? Yeah. So this was the monthly bull flag. So very similar to the S&P 500, monthly uptrend, brief higher low. The only difference here is we actually did come back down and test the 0.32 fib, but it was a perfect hold. As long as we held 55,000, it was a potential for a monthly higher low and bull flag bull continuation pattern. We hit 56,522. So now all we have to do is break the all-time high there at 73,757. Then that will confirm the monthly bull flag. And again, you just take your measured move from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and it says we're targeting 164. So 164,000 on Bitcoin, which would mean another 126% of upside from the previous all-time high. I'm not in the camp of thinking it's going to hit 160K. Crazier things have happened. And I mean, it's only 125%. That's not, a crazy amount, especially when we're talking about crypto. But let me know if you think that that's possible. I think, the more likely scenarios, we're probably going to hit maybe, 90 to 110K. Then we'll start to pull back. We'll see alt season, and then potential for, life-changing wealth, and then probably one of the most brutal pullbacks we've ever seen, right? Especially in big tech and some of these crypto names and Bitcoin. We're definitely going to see Bitcoin dominance drop off, in my opinion, and then, names like Ethereum should go, And then that money, once we start to top out, we'll start to see that trickle down into some of our other altcoins, right? You know, the XRPs, the XLMs, the Algos, HBARs, which haven't really they haven't been doing a whole lot. So in terms of all-time highs, Ethereum, from where we are now, we are only about 35% away. So it definitely has some catching up to do. But knowing what we know now with the S&P 500, knowing what we know with Bitcoin, where we stand there, where does the Ethereum chart stand? So let's just remove that, get rid of that, and we'll see if this is a monthly bull flag. So you go from your low to the high, and actually we did pull back a little bit more than we would like to see. But if you ignore those lower wicks there, you could make the case that, you know, we're still following that same pattern, but a little bit less confident in this one based on the fact that we did pull back more than the 0.382 fib. And it wasn't really the best and most clear setup for a bull flag anyways, based on that higher low and the 0.382 fib. So let's take a quick peek here, what we would be expecting. And you just have to be very careful, right? Because like I personally don't own any Ethereum anymore in my portfolio. I sold it way back in 2021. I definitely didn't make it to the all-time highs. I remember posting a video saying that Ethereum was going to absolutely crush it. We had a weekly 50 and 200 weekly moving average bull cross, and that happened whenever Ethereum was at about, I think it was $600. Yeah, it was like right here. And then we went just under 5K. So I said, expect massive upside. I think I was probably all out around 2,000, 2,500. But personally, you know, based on everything that I've seen, the SEC corruption, you know, ETH gate, I'm not, I don't feel comfortable holding this whatsoever because I don't know how many lawsuits that the SEC has been alleging that Ethereum is a security. You got Prometheum now. It's calling it digital asset security, and Ethereum's the first one that they're going to be supporting. And Gary Gensler is starting to say that as well. So it's not looking good for Ethereum, and there could easily be a lawsuit coming. So that's just something that I wouldn't want to have that dark cloud being held over my head, because if there actually was a lawsuit against Ethereum, they could actually lose that case. Whereas I don't think in and of itself it's a security, but you never know, right? We don't know what this agency is capable of, as you know, the SEC, based on everything that we've seen, and whether or not they go after the ICO in the early days, Stephen Nerioff as well. There's just a lot of shady things that have been uncovered with Ethereum. So I could not, other than being in it for a quick, day trade, swing trade with a tight stop, I definitely don't feel comfortable holding this one for the long term though. But if we go from our high to the low there, and we take a look at our fib extension levels, we were targeting the 3.618, and we hit that right to a T. So yeah, at this point, I'm not as confident in that monthly bull flag playing out, but if it did, saying somewhere around 7,500, which, doesn't sound too crazy. If we take a look at the weekly time frame here, we're getting back above the 10-week moving average, and we're gearing up for a potential weekly stochastic and MACD bull cross. So 2 out of our 3 macro indicators are flashing here with, like I said, price back above that 10-week moving average, which is great to see. But in terms of the weekly time frame, we did avoid a bear cross of the 50 weekly. So this is what I was referring to earlier when we had the bull cross with the 50 weekly below the 200 weekly. When that happens on the daily time frame, it's called a golden cross, and on the weekly time frame, it's even more bullish. So like I said, when that bull cross happened on the weekly time frame, it was around $600, and then we went all the way up to 5K. So now we're seeing the flip side of that, where the shorter term, the 50 is above the 200 and going to cross. That's not a great sign. But we actually fought that off, and we avoided having that bear cross. But it's just a matter of time. Could we see this one final more, move up and final blow off top moment? I think so. I would just be very, very cautious. If you're in now, even if we go to 7,500 from current price to that level, that's about 112% of upside. So, not really worth the risk, in my opinion. Like I said, if you're looking for a quick trade or scalp based on everything that we know, like I said, I would hate to see somebody be holding this thing. And, it's a little bit different than the Ripple versus SEC, because like we know that they didn't really do anything wrong. Whereas, based on everything that I've uncovered with Ethereum, there's a lot of skeletons underneath everything that they've tried to uncover, right? And ETH gate, it's not good. If they were to get sued in a potential lawsuit against Ethereum, I would say they would either lose or the SEC would come away with a massive fine, because there's literally, if you go to my YouTube channel and just search Ethereum disguised whales, there's literally a video of Joe Lubin, one of the co-creators of Ethereum, basically saying how to disguise large whales. So it's just, there's so much shady stuff. So I caution you. Like I said, Ethereum, it's number 2. You know, it's always been in the top 10. So it's not like it's going to go away tomorrow. But at the end of the day, I'd just be very, very cautious, especially when we're getting near all-time highs. There's a reason why all of this happens near all-time highs. So at the moment, we're back above all of our weekly moving averages, our daily moving averages as well. We are gearing up for a death cross, though, with the 50 above the 200-day. So like I said, on a long-term perspective, this isn't looking good, right? Because we're having the weekly bear cross of the weekly moving averages, and we're having a death cross potentially. This would be the first time since all the way back in August of 2023. So I just use the most amount of caution possible, especially on Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have already hit new all-time highs and could very well set new all-time highs. But the downside is definitely going to be more than the potential upside here coming into the end of this bull run. So just, again, be very, very cautious. In terms of gainers on the day today, we have Hex. Bitcoin dominance dropping a bit, not surprising, but pretty much all green out there today. We have Ethereum, no surprise, Ethereum Classic, and Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. So everything Ethereum flying today. Filecoin up about 11%. Chainlink, very bullish on Link. It's seen a massive move here over the last year or so. It was up about 380%. And so Link, for example, to its all-time high, that's about 215%. So this is an example of that, right? Ethereum, what did I say it was, like 35% or something like that? From the current level to the new all-time high, yeah, it's about 34%. So again, Link, if Link goes back to its all-time high from current levels, that's over a 200% move from here. And then we could break into new all-time high in blue sky breakout. So we could easily go 300, 400, maybe even 500% on Link this cycle. I think a new all-time high is possible. The all-time high is at 52, so 53, 52.99. So I think that we could easily hit $100, maybe even $200 this cycle on Link. I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to mention. Bit of a ascending triangle here on XRP on the 15-minute time frame. And you have to wonder, is XRP ETF next? It's the only one with legal clarity in the US. And we could see a wrap-up of this case, realistically, anytime now. And remember this cross here, the 50 and the 200 crossing with the 50 below the 200 weekly? Look what's happening on XRP right now. Same thing. 50's below the 200, and they're set to cross anytime now. Really, any week, any month, this case could be wrapped up. And I think it's going to end up being either a settlement or a very, 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 very small fine for Ripple. They're seeking like $2 billion in disgorgement, I believe, and damages. They're not going to get anywhere close to that. They might get 20 million, 50 million. I'd say 100 million at the most. But like I said, alt season is looking to really ramp up. And like I said, if we get this final blow off top moment in Ethereum, Bitcoin confirms the monthly bull flag, that is going to be great. A great sign for alts moving forward. But you have to wonder, is XRP going to be next for an approved spot ETF? So yeah, you got this ascending triangle here at the moment. So you can just take your measured move here, just get a rough idea. So it's saying about 54 cents. And if anybody does have any requests, please let me know. We're also seeing a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, but we're just stuck in this equilibrium here on the monthly time frame. We're in a monthly uptrend. We almost lost it, but in my opinion, that was a massive bear trap. So you have our low, high, higher low, and higher high EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, and then just this equilibrium pattern now with a high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, double top essentially, and then into that final shakeout before, in my opinion, the big breakout. Being in MJ and altcoins is literally getting a 1-2 punch every week. Good AM Finance. Yep, thanks for your comment. It's definitely, well, you're playing in the two most volatile asset classes and sectors on the planet, right? So yeah, it's definitely a whirlwind some days. Some days you're seeing, like I say, 20% gain, 50, sometimes even 100% gain. Look at Canopy. It was up like what? I think it was like 80% one day. And then, yeah, it would be no surprise to see some crypto up, 40, 50, 80, 100 plus percent. I mean, you've got meme coins now, FFIE, you got AMC, GME, just to name a few. They're all busting like, some over 100% in one day. I think FFIE was up over 100% this morning pre-market. So definitely crypto and MJ being the two most volatile sectors. Crypto being the most volatile, and then MJ second most in my opinion. But, it doesn't really matter. Like, look at Netflix. When we hit, look at that. In 6 months, it dropped almost 80%. I don't even know if MJ stocks or crypto did that in that short a period of time. But obviously, the higher you go, what goes up must come down. And we had this bearish RSI divergence. Tesla, same deal. But it took way longer than 6 months. It took 14 months. And it dropped 75%. And that was the same thing. I said we had a head and shoulders. We had an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the monthly time frame. We had hidden bearish RSI divergence with lower highs, lower lows, higher lows, higher highs on the price action. We also had a death cross on on Tesla at that same time, right? So we had the price with the 50-day coming down through the 200-day moving average. And then the measured move from the head and shoulders was targeting about 85, and we hit 101. So we came within about 14%, 14.5%. Also confirmed the monthly downtrend with a lower high, lower low, right? And what else? Tesla, there was Netflix. Those are probably the two that got hit the most out of the big tech names. But again, when you see this amount of upside, right, on Tesla, it went up 32x, 32.5x. So 3,252% essentially. So when you go up 30x, 35x, you need to expect a sizable pullback. And there's a reason why Tesla has been weaker, is because it saw more upside, right? If you just take a look at, say, a name like Meta during that same time frame, from March 2020 lows, it was only up 174%, right? So not even 2x. But from the low, yeah, that was another example too. So from the highs of 2021 all-time high to the low there, it was down over 76%. And then here we are just on the monthly time frame, monthly bull flag confirmed. So up 500% off of the lows, coming off monthly oversold and now monthly overbought. So like I said, big tech, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it over the next couple of years. And if you haven't seen my video, how I'm preparing, just go here, how I'm preparing for one. Maybe it wasn't in the title. Market crashes in history. Yeah, how I'm preparing for one of the worst market crashes in history. So top 10 things that I'm doing. You can check out that video if you haven't seen it. Quick updates on XRP and XLM. So, yep, we can take a quick peek. So, like I said, we're probably expecting Bitcoin to confirm a monthly bull flag similar to the S&P 500. And it would more than likely be the Bitcoin show. Then, we'll see what happens here with the spot Ethereum ETFs. And then you just have to wonder, is XRP after that? And one would think so. There's Simon McLaughlin of Uphold, CEO, talking about baskets and things like that. So, baskets, ETFs, all of this is a great sign that we're more than likely going to see that on XRP at some point soon. But yeah, monthly equilibrium, just tightening range on XRP. Weekly bounce underway, breaking the high of last week. Daily time frame, we're gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So next resistance at 57, and we have a double top there. So 57 cents, very strong resistance. After that, we have a lack until about 64 cents. And then, yeah, realistically, we get over 76 or 66 cents, I think it's off to the races. But as of right now, XRP seeing a potential MACD and stochastic bull cross in the weekly time frame as well, trying to get back above that 10-week moving average there at 54 cents. Like I said, we're 2 pennies away from seeing this weekly 50 and 200 weekly bull cross. And the last time that happened, we went all the way down from 17 cents to $2. And like I said, when it happened on Ethereum last, it went from $600 almost to $5,000. So just imagine what could happen for XRP being suppressed this long, right? It's been since 2018. It's been 7 years of bear market. So as they say, the greater the accumulation, the bigger the expansion. The greater, the longer the base, the higher in space, essentially, right? And we just had a death cross on XRP, so now we're expecting that downside to be limited. But XLM, I assume it's probably going to be similar. Yep, it's almost like looking at the same chart. But a little bit more work to go here in terms of XLM for the 50 and the 200 weekly bull cross on those moving averages. And this would more than likely coincide with an Ethereum, with a Ripple case ending. And we should see a favorable outcome, in my opinion, to XRP, and then that'll bring little brother along, XLM. And that's kind of what I'm thinking, and that's usually how it's always been. And obviously, with the charts looking very similar and XRP just being a little bit ahead in terms of those weekly moving averages looking to cross bull, leads me to believe that we should expect more of the same. And then, yeah, we're a little bit more work to do here on the MACD and stochastic before we see those cross bullish as well. So all signs point to XRP looking for the breakout first. Not a fan of ETH Santiago, but I had to open a long perceptual. Yeah, I mean, like I said, as long as you're using a stop loss, I mean, the great thing about crypto is it trades 24/7, 365, which eventually stocks will be on that time frame as well. We know that the SEC is moving to a T+1, so essentially stocks will now settle, U.S. stocks will settle the next business day. So it used to take about, remember at the end of the year, if you're doing tax loss harvesting, you'd have to sell 3 years before the end of the year for the cutoff, because it takes about 3 days for stocks to settle on the back end, right? You might be thinking, well, I sell and the money's in my account, what are you talking about? But there's clearing houses, and it happens on the back end, and it takes about 3 days. So now it's going to be, if you sell it today, a stock today, it would settle the next day. So essentially cutting that down dramatically. And then eventually, like I said, they're going to trade 365, 24/7, just like crypto. They'll be on the blockchain, and you'll be able to do fractionalize. You're already seeing that where, different types of fintech companies, you can buy 0.1 of a Tesla share or a Facebook share or whatever share, right? So you can buy, a Satoshi, so, 0.001 of a Bitcoin, right? Like you can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin or $5 worth of Bitcoin, and it's just fractionalized. So something similar is coming to, and they'll do that with real estate as well, right? Like real estate's getting so expensive. So wouldn't that be great if you could tokenize some sort of real estate property or asset and then just buy, 1% of it? We're already seeing that with Masterworks, where they have art, where you can buy, I think it's like a minimum dollars of $20 or something like that, but you can buy like $20 worth of this, very famous piece of art. So the writing's on the wall. But yeah, as long as you're using a tight stop loss, I mean, as of right now, this is looking like we could see in my opinion, you want to probably go short. Yeah. So we're almost going to start hourly consolidation here. So $3,608. If we lose that, we start hourly consolidation. And that would be the first time really since way back here. So how many hours and candles has it been? It has been 11 candles where we just had a higher low every single time. So that this could be a nice short opportunity. If we lose 3608, then target a back test there of EMA 12, which would be around 3371. So that's about a short opportunity. Let's just take a quick peek. That'd be about 6.5%. And I'm not sure if anybody uses leverage, but definitely a quick way to get wrecked in crypto. I like you said, watching MJ and altcoins is literally like getting a 1-2 punch every week. Well, add leverage to that. It's like you're in the most volatile sector in the planet, crypto, MJ being the second. I really don't think you need to add, an extra level of risk and, using leverage or, even options. I get a lot of people asking me if I play options and whatnot, but it's definitely like the stock market is a type of gambling. Like it's like the financial casino, but options and leverage are like basically going to these high stake tables in a casino. It's like the most highest form of gambling, period, right? Because you have to factor in time, you have to factor in these swings, and you're using leverage and you can just lose all your money, right? So but as of right now, I'd be looking more towards a short, especially on that hourly time frame. But if you're looking for an entry, if you're wondering when, again, not financial advice, but if you're wondering when would be a good entry on Ethereum, 5-minute oversold conditions should be a nice bounce. So I'd look. It all depends on how we get there, right? We're gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross here on the 5-minute time frame. We could be confirming and we did lose it's a head and shoulders, a little bit of a head and shoulders forming, so we'll see. But 5-minute oversold should be a nice entry here. And it really depends on what happens on the way down, right? If we just straight elevator shoot all the way down with barely any relief and lower high, right? The lack of resistance that we have going into that 5-minute oversold, we'll be expecting a bit more of a quicker and hard and fast move to the upside, right? Whereas if we come down, where's my brush tool? There we go. So if we just like went straight down, elevator move down, and then we hit 5-minute oversold, then we would expect a pretty hard and fast, maybe even a type of V-shape recovery. Whereas if we come down and we form, these lower highs and lower lows, and we have clear levels of resistance along the way, well, if by that time, we get down to 5-minute oversold here, well, we're going to have 2 layers of resistance, which might end up being a kind of a weaker bounce. So just have to play it by ear. That really, depends on how much you've been studying charts and how much experience you have. But at the end of the day, 5-minute oversold after a big monster move like that should be a decent bounce, and we haven't been 5-minute oversold since way back here in around 3,000. Quebec in the house. Welcome, Steve. I have no interest in ETH, but I'm here to support you as usual. Thanks, Chandler. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a huge Ethereum fan, but I'm definitely not a tribalist. I'm not tribal to one coin. I'm not a maximalist of one coin. I want all crypto to do well, and by no means do I want Ethereum to fail and cease to exist. There's definitely a lot of shady history with regards to the project and token, but at the end of the day, there's going to be more than one chain. There's going to be more than one coin or token or project. If we're going to change how money works around the world, right? We're talking all the money in the world. Then just look at the big tech companies, right? It's like, it could be said with any industry. Look at there's so many car makers. There's so many big tech companies. You got your Amazon, your Apples, your Facebooks, but they're all not trying to be everything to everybody, and they all have their competitive advantage and their moat and what they're good at. And there's enough room for them all to succeed, right? That's why they call it the Mag 7. So, in terms of crypto, I'd say there's probably going to be 10 to 20 main ones, and they're all going to have different use cases. They're going to solve different problems for different businesses and people around the world, right? So you got decentralized file storage and Link, which, is, in my opinion, is going to be a massive project and very, very cheap at the moment. But, HBAR, you got XRP, you got your XLMs, which, you're talking about your retail and your wholesale facing payments. You've got, Bitcoin, which is quote unquote the store of value and digital gold, but Ethereum smart contracts, right? You got Flare Networks now, which is bringing smart contracts to different projects like Bitcoin and XRP. I think Doge was another one. There's a few on there. but appreciate the support. I was doubtful at 9K, 20K, 60K. Wouldn't be surprised now if it actually does hit 160K. Yeah, I mean, it's not that much more of upside, right? It's only like 125%. So if we're at a 1.371 trillion market cap, then we would have to be somewhere around that 3 trillion market cap for Bitcoin to hit that, which could easily do that. Like Brad Garlinghouse said, he thinks that conservatively, he thinks the crypto market's going to reach 5 trillion this year or early 2025, like this cycle, before all said and done, before we enter a new bear market. And we're at 2.57 trillion. So that means double where we are now. And that was just conservative. I think it's going to be closer to 6 or 7 trillion, maybe even 10 trillion. But I think my conservative target's around 6 or 7 trillion. And I even said that before Brad Garlinghouse came out and said it in one of my videos. And I couldn't agree more. I think, 5 to 7 is very doable. And then that would only bring us, let's say, like I said, if we double from here, then we'd still only be at, that'd be another 1.37, so 1.4. So we'd still only be at just around 4 trillion, right? And then another trillion comes in, and then you're at that 5 trillion. Bitcoin tops out. That money from the market cap of Bitcoin starts to rotate into altcoins. We see alt season. And it's not going to take very much money to rotate out of Bitcoin into some of these other projects. Like look at XRP, it's 29 billion. Doge, 23 billion. Cardano, 17 billion. Man, I remember when Cardano was like up there in number 3 spot. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if my calculator can do that. Yeah, I don't think it will, but not this version of my calculator anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like 40 times. I guess you can just do, I'll just do in billions. So 1374, and then XRP's 20. We'll just round it up to 30. So divided by 30, we'll just do it in millions. So yeah, that's 45 times what XRP's market cap is. So if XRP's at 53 cents times 45, that'd put us at a $23 XRP. If we just saw the same market cap as Bitcoin. Isn't that wild? So yeah, I'm thinking, I'm thinking $9 to $13 should be doable for XRP this cycle. Maybe 17 to 20 this cycle, but I'm thinking, I was asked today, what do I think XRP can hit? I think, I was asked in 20 years. Well, no one has a crystal ball, but I can speculate, but I'm definitely not one of those people who thinks that XRP is going to 10 grand. Like, you start to lose me there a little bit, but in 5 to 10 years, I could see, I don't know if it's going to happen this cycle, but maybe then the next cycle, which would probably bring us, 5 years from now, because we could still have another 6 months to a year left of this bull market, and then, multiple years of bear market, and then we enter a new bull market. It's probably going to take a couple of years for it to get back up to all-time high. So I think, 5 to 10 years, I wouldn't be surprised if XRP hit $100. 10 to 20 years out, maybe it hits 4 digits and it hits 1,000. But yeah, I think that would be closer to 15 to 20 years before it hit 1,000. But yeah, I've always been in the camp of thinking that XRP could easily hit $100, someday, maybe 1,000. Can't see it 10,000. The only way that it would ever hit like 10,000 is if they burn the escrow, if they, did something similar to Stellar Lumens XLM, or if they give away a lot of the escrow to the incumbents and the big banks and the SEC, the US. We'll see, right? Thoughts on Solana? Yeah, I cringe when I take a look at some of these names, right? Because we have no support on the monthly time frame. It reminds me of like TrueLeave. Remember TCNNF back when it hit new all-time highs? So we went from the all-time low there at 574 to the all-time high at 53.73. And it was just a higher low every single monthly candle. We had no support. And we didn't even confirm a monthly uptrend. We just confirmed a monthly uptrend for the first time in history. But low, high, no support. What happens when you have no support? We gave it all back and then some. So we went down another 40% from the lows after being up at all-time highs. And then we confirmed a monthly downtrend here with a lower high, lower low. So in this monthly candle here in January of 2022, that's when we confirmed the monthly downtrend. Even if you just exited there, just on that monthly downtrend being confirmed, which is when we lost 23.10, we'll say $23, That would have saved you another 85% of downside just on exiting on the monthly downtrend. And then you could have entered here whenever we confirmed the monthly uptrend, which was in January of this year. And then you'd be up 87%. So it would have saved yourself 85% and you'd be up 87, right? Just on knowing what uptrends and downtrends are on the monthly time frame. And when it's on the monthly time frame, it's even worse. So again, what do we learn here about this period here where, we had no support that whole way? Well, let's take a look at Solana. It looks pretty similar. We basically have no support that whole way. We had a brief higher low here from 19 to 17, but realistically, we have no support all the way down to 12.80, then $8. So from current levels, we could drop 90% and still be in a monthly uptrend. So we have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. So in the month of July 2023, we confirmed the monthly uptrend on Solana. Even if you just entered there on that monthly uptrend confirming, you'd be up 638%, right? Or if you exited here when we confirmed the monthly downtrend, lower high and lower low. So in this month here, if you had exited when we when we confirmed the monthly downtrend, you would have saved yourself 89.5%, so 90% of downside. And again, if you just entered on the monthly uptrend confirming, you'd now be up 600 and change percent. So now the risk is to the downside, in my opinion. We already had the monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. And we do have a little bit of hidden RSI bearish divergence here with lower highs forming on the RSI. And I mean, we just went from $8 all the way up to over $200. So that's almost 25x. So if you invested $1,000 in December of 2022 to 2 months ago, that $1,000 would have turned into 25,000. So, 4,000, you're sitting at 100K. 10, 20K invested there, you'd be almost a millionaire, right? So you just have to be very, very cautious on names like this that have already skyrocketed. And plus, Solana, it goes down all the time. Plus, it had heavy ties to FTX, and we know that was a big scam. And I personally don't own any, and there's too much. It's kind of like Ethereum. There's just too much sketchy things going on, and a chain that it just goes to show how centralized it is. If it keeps having to shut down and they keep having to restart the network and go back to a central authority, how decentralized is it and how awesome is it, right? But multiple monthly inside bars at the moment, so it's just a tightening range. So we can zoom into the weekly time frame and just look for a type of equilibrium pattern with a high, low, lower high, higher low. Now we're seeing a little bit of a bull break there, but still just kind of ranging. It's a little bit more clear on the daily time frame here. Low, high, higher low, lower high, higher low. Bull break. Definitely favoring a bullish break from here, but this would be a monster short if we start monthly consolidation. So if we lose the low of the previous monthly candle, I don't even really consider that enough of a higher low there. So it has now been essentially 335 days or 11 months in a row, 11 candles in a row with any real monthly consolidation. So I think the play on Solana would be to enter a short if we were to lose the low of the previous monthly candle, which is right now, that's 116. And even if we just pulled back to EMA 26, that's about a 32% opportunity for a short. And realistically, let's just see here. From the low to the high there. Yeah, not really set up for a bull flag. So it's looking pretty toppy to me. Let's take a look at... Yeah, we're gearing up. We just had a stochastic bull cross on the weekly. MACD's gearing up for one. We're back above the 10-week moving average. So, maybe we go to 250, 300. Could get pretty nutty if we take a look at our fib extensions. If we go to the 1.618, that'd bring us to 397. If we go to the 2.618, we'd be at around 638. And the 3.618 would bring us to 879. Can you imagine? Go to $8 all the way up to 6 or 800. Yeah, I'm thinking that 1.618 to the 2.618, somewhere around that area max. I can't see it going above that, but I'm thinking probably somewhere around that $300 to $400 area would be where we would top out if we do break to a higher high. And we, like I said, we haven't even really seen full alt season yet, so we're starting to see signs of it. I mean, Solana itself going from $8 all the way up to 205, 210.18 actually, $8 to 210. Well, That's pretty decent sign of alt season, right? We have leaders and laggards, and we should start to see that kind of be the case for the rest of these projects as well. Total 2. Looking very good here as well. That looks like it's a monthly bull flag. Yeah, if we ignore that, well, not really. So yeah, we pulled back a little bit more than we would like to, but also looking like a big cup and handle. Not the most clear, but total 3. So we do have some resistance there. We're slight resistance there, not much, but 47% away from the all-time high there. That just excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, but we did have a bull cross as well of the 50 and the 100 weekly on Solana. But yeah, we're starting to see the daily moving averages go the other way and a death cross potentially lining up. So doesn't mean we're completely pumping the brakes just yet, but I'd be very cautious on that one. Like I said, monthly consolidation would be a nice short opportunity. Could you please explain that higher low on the monthly on OGI? What level does it need to break for that to play out? Yeah, so you're just referring to the monthly uptrend looking to confirm, right? So a lot of names in the space have already done monthly uptrends. Let's just bring up GTBIF. So GTBIF, we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and then we look for the higher high. In a downtrend, it's lower highs and lower lows. So we have our high, low, lower high, lower low. And then on the flip side, we're looking for the bull trend and higher high. So we just don't have that on OGI yet. So essentially OGI is here, where you have our low of the dump, high of the bounce, a higher low compared to this low. So essentially OGI is just starting this candle right here. And then we still need this candle right here with the higher high compared to this high. So that's what that means. And generally, a weekly uptrend confirming will mark a monthly higher low or a break of the previous monthly candle. So if you start consolidation, just means you're losing the low of the previous candle and you're pulling back. And then that's what gives you your higher low. Because here, like we pulled back, obviously you can pull back on this candle, right? Or any time at all, but we didn't lose the low of the previous monthly candle. So it was just that month that was just all coming off the same move from the same low. So once we lost the low of this candle here last month, then this now becomes our potential higher low compared to this one, right? And then we look for that trend change, which is our higher high, which would be a break of this high here. So we're forming the higher low, and we still need that higher high. And it's just anybody's guess on where that's going to be. But, you know, that's why you can use things like fib tools, where you can go from the low to the high of the bounce there. We've retraced to the almost to this 0.618. Actually, yeah, we did. So that's called the golden pocket. So anything around that 0.618 and the 786 right here, like this area here, is a decent area to start scouting for entries. So they call it the golden pocket, right? So somewhere around that 172 to 139 area. So hopefully that makes sense. You don't need to if you want to keep it about crypto. No, all good. It's good. It's a good learning opportunity, right? So, how is ETHgate getting an ETF, guaranteed security, and Hinman knows it? Well, yeah, I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. Larry Fink at BlackRock brought up a good point. Like, there's tons of ETFs that have securities in them, right? Look at the S&P 500. SPY is a security, right? It's managed by the SEC. So why even if Ethereum was a security, why can't it have an ETF, right? You know, you got MJ ETFs, right? You got MSOS. All of the holdings in there are securities. So even if Ethereum was deemed a security, yeah, that was a great point by Larry Fink. Like, why couldn't it have an ETF? I was like, oh, that's very true. But, you know, I think all of us have a little bit of a, I don't know what the best word is. I guess a sour taste in our mouth just because of, you know, when Ripple got sued, not XRP, but Ripple, the company, the private company the centralized private company, not XRP, the virtual decentralized virtual currency and asset, a lot of people from the Ethereum community and, just overall Bitcoin maxis and Ethereum maxis and anybody who just didn't like Ripple and XRP use that as a way to attack Ripple and XRP, right? So we just have some bad blood there with regards to that. And we just want a level playing field, right? That's all like, why is the SEC picking and choosing and favoring certain projects, right? Well, now we know because, 15 million reasons, right? Look at Bill Hinman getting paid millions and millions of dollars. Bill leaving, going to work for a crypto firm. You had Jay Clayton leaving to go work for a crypto firm. So it looks bad, right? It just smells bad, looks bad, is bad. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, and they're doing it like right in front of our eyes and our noses, right? We can sniff it out. And it's just like, they just don't care. And there's no repercussions, right? Until these people start going to jail, they're just going to keep doing it. Why wouldn't they? It's like your delinquent child. If it just keeps acting up and you don't do anything to correct it or to discipline them, why would they change? So, we really need, the system is obviously broken and corrupt and favors the haves versus the have-nots, and it truly is a sad sap of like the financial markets. The more you learn about the financial markets, the more you realize that, wow, like, it's no wonder, there's so many conspiracies going on because, like, well, you don't do yourself any favors, right? Like, why would you leave the SEC, go work for a crypto firm after, basically attacking? Oh, it's just, and then Gary Gensler, working for the SEC, the chair of the SEC, he used to work for Goldman Sachs. And not only that, he taught at MIT, he taught crypto and was very pro crypto. And now that he's in the SEC chair, he's doing the work for the Elizabeth Warrens and the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs. He's trying to slow the industry down or maybe even kill it, right, to protect them. And, JPM coin, right? So it's just, in my opinion, they're not trying to kill it. They're just trying to slow it down so that they can get a big piece of the pie, right? And now that there's Bitcoin ETFs, one of the fastest growing ETF in history, and now in the top 5 ETFs in terms of assets under management. So it's crazy to see what's going on just in a very, very short period of time. And I mean, it's unlike anything else, right? Like, think about MJ stocks. People in the U.S. can't buy certain MJ stocks because they're not listed on the U.S. major exchanges, on the NYSE and the NASDAQ. You can only buy the Canadian companies, and you can't buy OTC, over the counter. You can't buy in the Canadian exchanges. Sometimes your brokers even restrict MSOS ETF. So, there's all of these restrictions on who can buy and who cannot buy. And with crypto, you could be like a 10-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid or whatever from any country in the world, and you can buy it. I mean, obviously there's certain countries that are hostile towards it, like China has been very hostile, but we're seeing ETFs approved all around the world. And the fact that, Bitcoin and Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs were approved elsewhere shows us that it's very likely that it gets approved in the US as well. But thank you, sir. You're welcome. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you're somebody who, has been following ETHgate, yes, there's a lot of shady activities. But is that a reason for, for us to want the project to fail? I don't really subscribe to that way of thinking, because there's good and bad people in everything, right? And at the end of the day, it's going to take more than one project to change the whole financial system. And we need to work together. And, just because there was a few corrupt people at the SEC potentially, like I said, doesn't mean that makes the whole project bad, but certainly is frustrating. I'll give you that. All right, definitely a longer stream than I thought it was going to be. I know definitely with the MJ, we've got probably 10 times the amount of people on my MJ videos, but as I mentioned in my intros, it's an MJ channel, crypto assets, news and interviews. So we try to incorporate crypto from time to time. Usually around 80%, 90% of my content is MJ, but like I said, I'm still expecting, I'm kind of happy that MJ has been kind of sluggish and keeps remaining low, because look at Bitcoin bump in here now. I'm pretty happy that, look at that, few candles here on the 5 minutes, up 2%. But yeah, I'm pretty happy that MJ's staying low because that gives me time to scale out of my altcoin positions and look to rotate those profits into more beaten down MJ. So, and I did max out my TFSA for the year, and I added all MJ stocks to that at the beginning of the year in January and February. So I'm ready to go. I would love a little bit more time to rotate those crypto profits, hopefully into more beaten down MJ, because I do think that, you know, the S&P 500 is going to go on a massive crash, like 40-50% correction from all-time highs, wherever that's going to be. Like I said, maybe somewhere around that 600, 620 area, the monthly bull flag target, and then pull back 40-50% from there, which would bring us down to around, 300, 275. We were just at like 200 in March 2020. So, 250, 275 shouldn't be completely out of the realm of possibility. And then, 40-50% pullback. A lot of people keep asking me, well, what's that going to do to MJ? Well, it's probably going to drop a lot, but MJ could drop 20, 30, 40% in a day if SPY were to drop 5 or 10% in a day, but it would recover a lot more quickly, in my opinion, and be one of the best performing sectors, if not the best performing sector over the next couple of years, and actually potentially go against the grain while big tech and a lot of our cryptos start to go into a bear market. Similar to what happened in 2018, right? When Canada legalized, we saw Bitcoin and big tech stocks really start to take a dive, and MJ stocks went through the roof. So, and it wasn't just one MJ stock. It was literally throw a dart, you win. It was all MJ stocks going to new all-time highs. And that was the difference in 2021 highs on MJ, is there was only a few companies hitting all-time highs. If you look at a lot of our names at MJ, there was only a select few, maybe a half a dozen or something like that. But yeah, we're gunning for all-time high tests here on Bitcoin at the moment. So as I mentioned, it was a daily bull flag here on Bitcoin, and we're targeting 72.6K, and here we are at 71.3. So we are now 1.7% away. And we're not yet daily overbought here either. We're definitely overbought on Ethereum. It's not too bad, actually. Hourly time frame it was. We're sitting at 93. Man, do you guys and gals see this friggin' stock? Faraday Future Intelligent Electric. So obviously a meme craze and like just insane, man. Went from 3.9 cents to $3.90. It went 103x in a week. So if you put $1,000 into this thing, it would be worth over $100,000 in a week. Like, are you kidding me? That's insane. But then it pulled back. In one day, it pulled back 76%. But yeah, I've never seen RSI this hot before. It was almost at 100. It was at 99. Literal insanity. And that's the thing too, right? Like when you're overbought on all time frames, like 15, we were overbought, heavily overbought. Hourly, heavily overbought. Daily, heavily overbought. Weekly, not so much. I didn't know this company at all before, but even with the lack of resistance here on the monthly time frame, it just got absolutely crushed. In the span of 8 months, it was down almost 100%, so 99.95%. And the market cap was only like, I think, 2 million, 3 million near the bottom. So, it wouldn't take much to move it. But this one's been an absolute beast. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. MJ is highly manipulated. Yep, well, like you say, it's like that for a reason. Big alcohol, big tobacco. There was a thing too, Prince Edward Island, where I'm from, banning tobacco. PI considers banning people born after a certain date from buying tobacco products. So what does that tell you about big alcohol, big tobacco, big pharma, opioid crisis? MJ has been a great alternative to opioids for pain and things like that. And then certain, like this is just PEI, small province in PEI, or in Canada, but if they're thinking about doing it, it's just a matter of time before it makes its way to, the G7 and the United Nations and, the other Gs. So if they're starting to do it, that's where the world's heading, right? So poison versus medicine. And yeah, it's just like crypto. They have to slow it down so that the JP Morgans, the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachs, same thing with MJ Banking. MJ Banking is going to happen. Then we'll get Schedule 3 reform probably, and then descheduling, full-blown legalization. But it's not going to happen until the JP Morgans, the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachs, the Black Rocks get positioned. We get uplisted to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. Then they'll do meaningful reform, because nothing happens in the world without those big Wall Street banks, unfortunately. But the great thing is we're here before them, and we get to front run those institutions, just like crypto. Usually it's the other way around, right? You have venture capitalism, you have private investing, and you need to be accredited, all that good stuff. Have $1 million net worth or $250,000 of income for, I think, two years in a row or something like that. So if you get accredited, then you can buy private equity. And they're looking to, like Link2 is a company that's trying to change the game, and there's different things in the works potentially to change that. They were trying to up it to, I think, two or 3 or 5 million or something like that for accredited investor status, which is just daylight robbery. It already is, right? It should be criminal to do that. But crypto is the opposite. We're able to invest in it before the big institutions. It's that kind of grassroots, right? That bottom, instead of the top down, it's bottom up. So MJ's kind of similar in that regard as well, because a lot of, like Kevin O'Leary said, there was this one company in Vermont, MJ company, that I was looking at, and it was like 10% yield on my cash, and he was like, this is a no-brainer. And then I talked to my lawyer, and he's like, are you fucking crazy? Excuse my French, but he's like, no, it's on the same list as heroin. He's like, oh yeah, okay, guess I can't do that until there's some sort of reclassification. And wouldn't you know, we're going through the rescheduling process now. So we just need a couple of rich people to get interested, and then the laws start to change, right? Crazy. He called the security threat and legal action now could approve an ETF. Makes you wonder, the SEC is giving up lots against XRP. The only win they have isn't even in crypto related. They got Binance. Yeah, and I mean FTX, they missed FTX, they missed Terra Luna. Like, all of this happened under their watch. And, Maxine Waters was like blowing kisses to Sam Bankman-Fried. I mean, Scam Bankman-Fraud. Scam Bank-Run Fraud. That's just so funny too, how that, like, perfectly, his name just resembles Scam. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up if you tried. Like, you'd have to be one super smart storyteller. And that's quite often what they do, right? Is they make it so outlandish that, people are like, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory, right? But it's like, you do know that there's conspiracies that are true and some that are not true. Right? A conspiracy theory, it just has a negative connotation, right? And people think like, oh, you're one of those, like, it's a conspiracy theorist. It's just meant to, like, basically make people seem crazy, and then people will stop listening to them. And that's exactly what the government wants, is because, oh, no, they're on to us. Let's just call them conspiracy theorists. And, basically anything that comes out of their mouth now, they're just crazy. Right? So, anyway, it's pretty funny. It's like JFK was shot. No one knows who it was. I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole there, but, like, there's probably a bad story attached to it, right? But yeah, you have to wonder, like, the SEC can't keep bringing all these cases against, and, like, they were looking to bring something against Elon as well. It was a recent thing. Elon Musk, SEC, testify. Yeah, here it is. Elon Musk ordered to testify again in the U.S. SEC probe over the Twitter takeover. And he said he's been building a case against the SEC. Mark Cuban actually beat the SEC in a lawsuit. And Elon's just absolutely hates the SEC. He said Tesla would have went bankrupt if he didn't bend the knee to the SEC. So he said he was building a case against them, and he wouldn't be the first. So, and there's even talks about the SEC going away. They're even talking about getting rid of the Federal Reserve now as well. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. But I think the U.S. could potentially default on their debt and essentially go bankrupt. And that would usher in a new financial system and more than likely a CBDC, unfortunately. But just like I said, there's good and bad in everything, and you just need to regulate the activities. It's like, when cars were first invented, the horse and buggy got disrupted, right? When Netflix came along, Blockbuster but you don't stop innovating, right? Just because somebody's getting, put out of business. So it's the same thing with this, right? There's going to be good and bad actors. Cash is tons of nefarious activities go on with cash, right? It's like the preferred method by drug dealers and cartels, right? But, you don't ban cash, which they're kind of trying to now because they can't track it, right? Whereas Bitcoin is actually traceable, right? It's super traceable. If you have a warrant, you can trace everything. Yeah, they know who did it. Yeah, like I said, it's pretty crazy, right? It's like right there in front of our faces, but who are we to question it? And we just don't know because everything's just been hidden. And now that we have the internet, it's a lot harder for them to do that, right? For these politicians and world leaders to hide things, but like they're not even trying to hide it anymore. You got the WEF who's just like, you'll own nothing and be happy. Like they just open their mouth anytime they want, and they don't care. They don't even have a filter. We don't even care anymore. So, and if you actually think about it, what in the world do most people own nowadays? Most people can't buy a home. Most people are priced out of owning a home. Most people don't even own their car. Most people have a ton of credit card debt, student loans. You're financing your house. You get like a 5% down payment or whatever, your first time home buyer. So you really only own like 5% of it. Well, a lot less too, because you're going to be, probably racking up credit card debt to fix your stuff. And, you don't own your car, your phone. You might be like, oh, well, yeah, I bought my phone out. I didn't get it on a contract. I own the phone. That's one thing I do own. It's like, do you? Do you own the operating system that's on that phone? What happens if you are a public enemy of the establishment and they subpoena or they, run a warrant or a probe into your phone and they tell, Apple, you have to shut off access to this guy's phone or gal's phone. It's like, do you really own the phone at that point? Or what if they shut off your internet connection, right? It's actually pretty scary. So, like, most people don't own their own car. Most people are financing a car. Most people don't even own their TV anymore. They're financing their TV, right? You go on Amazon and you can get 0% financing, right? Well, a lot of it's not 0%. A lot of it's like 8 to 20% or something like that. Crazy, but yeah, exactly, Jim Lucy. But yeah, it's I think it's a lot closer than what we actually think. Like we're already pretty much there, in my opinion. Like own nothing and be happy because people are just like, and they don't even care. People are like, oh yeah, I'll finance that couch and that TV and pay interest on it. You're starting to see 0% interest, but that's not as common. Or they charge you like a fee to do it. So like $200 for the 6-month financing or the year financing, right? So. All of which is money that most people don't already have. So why are you paying extra? Why not work on paying down your credit card debt? Why not paying down your student loans and your debt in general and then get a new couch and pay for it? It's like buying a new car, right? All these people are, well, I'm going to go buy a brand new Volkswagen or a brand new BMW. It's like, well, do you really need a BMW? Plus the interest rates right now are through the roof, no pun intended. And then gas is super expensive. Like inflation on goods and services, like to get parts and things like that are expensive. Labor is expensive. Borrowing money is expensive, right? So it's like, why would you put yourself, why not just go on Kijiji or, Facebook Marketplace or whatever, buy and sell and buy like a Honda Accord or a Honda Civic, something that's going to last for a long time and get like a 2019 or a 2017 super reliable Honda or whatever and Toyota Camry or something like that, and then pay it for it cash $5,000 or something like that, right? And then you're good. And then when the interest rates start to come down and you start to pay off your debt, then get something nice, right? So rent a center. Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, now's the time to start really, getting your house in order and getting on top of bills. And I saw a statistic that most people are less than, I think it was like less than $200 away per month. So if your people's bills were to go up an extra $200 a month, they wouldn't be able to pay them. So, you just have to be focused on owning things and paying down debt and not owing other people things, right? Because it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And I think it was the WEF that said it as well. Through chaos will come order. And we're already seeing that, right? There's like a new movie, Civil War, coming out. So getting a little conspiratorial now, but it's the same thing. Remember the movie Contagion? Look at the timeline on when that came out and then what happened in March 2020. Like it's kind of funny. People get tricked all the time. Real estate agents see the worst, but the market is on fire. Don't tell you about the crazy property tax and interest rate you'll pay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of the property tax and like insurance now on vehicles is ridiculous. It's worse than like on a house, I think. Especially here in Alberta and Edmonton. It's like I couldn't believe it whenever I found out how much some people were paying for insurance on their automobiles. I was like, that is just crazy. Crazy. All right, going at it there. It's Rod with POW Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth, and we shall see you again on the next video. Have a great night. Go Oilers, go. I heard that Brock Besser is out with a blood clot. That sucks for him. Never want to see that, but good for Oilers. We should hopefully be able to get the upper hand here, and we were absolutely buzzing after the last game, beating them 5-1, which is the most convincing win of the series. So we'll see. Go Oilers, go, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great night.